Are we waiting for somebody else, or somebody is also coming, I think? Ну что, Жень, готов? Хороший? Не будем ждать? А? Трансляция идет? So I'll start now. As you may have heard, the US and Japan have presented to the Security Council a draft resolution proposing prohibiting placement of nuclear weapons in outer space. It looks seemingly positive, but there are important pitfalls which our Western colleagues try to conceal in this regard. I will try to expose these pitfalls so that no one has any illusions about true colors of this sly and misleading initiative. First of all, let me confirm that this is a very important issue and we attach due attention to it. It's also wrong to claim that it's not being addressed by the international community. Since the adoption in 1967 of the Outer Space Treaty, there is a clear obligation for state parties prohibiting placement of weapons of mass destruction in outer space. Russia is fully compliant with the obligations under this treaty. Furthermore, in 1978, the General Assembly took a decision aimed at preventing an arms race in outer space, abbreviated PARUS, and established particular disarmament mechanisms to address this issue. The issue of nuclear weapons is a subject of expert discussions in relevant international fora where we actively participate. One of the problems of the US-Japan draft is that it preempts these discussions and contains obligations that have never been examined in relevant disarmament fora by the full membership of the Outer Space Treaty. It is obvious that the Security Council, with its membership limited to 15, is not an appropriate forum to tackle outer space issues which affect wider UN membership. Not to say adopt any additional legal obligations in circumvention of the existing mandates. The US-Japan proposal, if adopted, would therefore bear detrimental consequences for further discussions within the inclusive UN fora by undermining their mandates. One has to bear in mind that while circulating in mass media allegations on Russia's malicious plans in space, our Western colleagues regard outer space as an essential warfighting domain. Ambitious programs to develop weapons systems designed to use a force and threaten to use a force in outer space are underway in a number of Western states. Such policies blatantly contradict the core provision of the Outer Space Treaty on peaceful use and exploration of outer space. Russian Federation strives for decades for Paris goals. We firmly believe that preservation of outer space for peaceful purposes is for the benefit of all humanity. From the outset of consultations regarding this draft resolution, we have been insisting on the inclusion of these commitments. This would allow the Security Council to send a clear and unequivocal message to the international community that outer space should remain a peaceful domain, without any weapons, including nuclear. But the penholders fiercely resist our arguments. In other words, they want to include an obligation of non-development of nuclear weapons specifically designed to be placed in outer space, but resist to include a wider similar obligation pertaining to any kind of weapons. They resist and decline our amendments aimed at prohibiting any kind of weapons in outer space. Don't you think it is strange? Ask our US and Japanese colleagues why they behave in such a way. For us, the answer is clear. The only aim of the draft is to politicize the issue, support baseless US allegations against Russia, and to try to put us in an awkward position. After using 4 vetoes to shield Israel from any responsibility for Gaza massacre and to give it green light for any further operations, US badly needs this. They also want to avoid any obligations that would prevent them from doing what they are doing now, developing weapons systems that can be placed in outer space. Make no mistake here, as they say. Don't be misguided by the so-called US peaceful initiative. We act on the premise that all members of the UN Security Council share the common understanding that no weapons should be placed in outer space. We are convinced that keeping outer space free from weapons of any kind and thereby preventing it from turning into an area of military confrontation are priority tasks. It's regrettable that the US intends to play political games in this domain, risking to put all prospects of international cooperation there at risk. I thank you.
So does that mean you will veto, or are you still engaging?
We are engaging, but so far to no avail. But make no mistake, this resolution is sly, and the aim of it is obvious, to expose Russia.
And could I ask you on another subject, the Iranian mission tweeted that if the Security Council had condemned the attack on their diplomatic premises in Damascus, it might avoid the need for them to retaliate. So I'm just wondering, normally the Council issues statements condemning attacks on diplomatic premises. Was there a discussion in the Council about this, and what happened?
There was a draft press statement, which was the work on which was finished at a certain point and stopped by the insistence of our Anglo-Saxon colleagues. On the retaliation, you asked the Iranian mission. It's not our responsibility. What?
Who drafted the press statement? Who drafted? Which delegation drafted
Who
it?
drafted the press statement? Us.
Okay.
Us with the help of other council members as well.
Ambassador Nebenzia, a quick question about the Palestine bid for full membership. There's another meeting this afternoon, as you well know, sir. The U.S. has made it very clear that they're fully against it. Are you prepared to try to take this to a resolution and force a vote on it?
The pen holders of the issue are Algeria, and the group of Arab countries that discuss the issue will do as they decide. Yes, U.S. doesn't want to put it to the Security Council. That's their will, how they will vote on it. Let them demonstrate to the world how they do. But I think that the majority of the Council members would like to see the resolution being put to the Security Council. We had already one meeting of the so-called admission committee, which didn't bring anything new compared to what it has come to in 2011. And I don't think that today's meeting will bring anything fresh either. So we exerted all efforts that the admission committee could have done. Now it's for Algeria and Palestine and the Arab group who are discussing the matter to decide what they'll do next. Thank you.